Hi guys, Victoria here, welcome to my channel. After the Italian vlogs, I am bringing you a short vlog from a 3-day trip that I took to Portugal, to the Algarve region. I flew from Vienna to Faro with Ryanair. As you can see, we were in a little bit of a turbulence. It was a very windy weekend, so both on the way there and back we were experiencing periods of turbulence, which was not necessarily my favorite part of the trip for sure. And here you can see as we are approaching Faro, which is one of the major airport cities in Portugal, outside of Porto and Lisbon. To travel around the region, you will probably need a car. I was visiting a friend who had a car, so she picked me up from the airport, and then we were using her car throughout the 3 days when I was there. However, when I needed to go back to the airport, I needed to book an airport transfer, which I was trying to book a bit late, the evening or the afternoon before my flight, and my flight was fairly early in the morning at 9:15, but I was an hour away from the airport, and the transfer that I found would have been 70 euros, which would have been a private transfer. However, they cancelled on me because of availability, and at the end I needed to book an Uber for my way back to the airport, which cost me half a fortune. It kind of spoiled my last evening, in the sense that I didn't expect to waste that much money on just a transfer to the airport, and then it cost me more than my flight. There are definitely buses and trains available as well, except that if your flight is at around 9 or between 9 and 10 or earlier, then there is nothing available so early in the morning. The train that was going from Lagos to Faro airport, or to Faro, would have arrived, the first one in the morning would have arrived at 9 to Faro, which is obviously too late if my flight is at 9:15. So make sure to research that properly, but I would say having a car in this area is the most convenient, although parking it could be a bit of a difficulty and a bit of a challenge. So don't go inside the towns to try to find parking in the middle of the town. Try to park a little bit outside or on the edge of the town and walk in. And if you go to the beaches, it's the same, because at the beaches cars will pile up. There are parking lots probably, and around this time of the year in May or outside of the main summer season, you can probably still find parking, but it can be challenging in the summer when the beaches are full with people. Yeah.
The story is but yeah, you see, so this Vic is Lagos, the area over there.
So on the first day I landed after a 3.5 hours flight, direct flight from Vienna, on Faro airport at around 10 a.m. and so I had the rest of the day to explore. I was staying in Praia da Luz, which is where my friend has an apartment. As the name suggests, it's a coastal village not far from Lagos. We had lunch there and went for a walk in the town, and then for the afternoon we went to Lagos. We went to this beach near Lagos, and then for the evening we were visiting the town. We went for a walk there as well and looked for dinner in the area. We were also searching for some pastel de nata, which is the local Portuguese egg custard tart pastry. However, we could not find any at this late hour. We managed to get one, however, in the morning next day, on Saturday. What was suggested by the locals is that don't buy pastel de nata on a Sunday, because it's gonna be left over from the day before. They don't really bake fresh on Sundays because Sunday is a holiday, and also it's probably better to get it in the morning fresh for the breakfast, or you take it to go for the day rather than getting it in the evening. Anyway, in the evening they will probably not have any left anymore.
I know that diamonds mean money for this heart, and that's not the shape of my heart.
So the first evening we were just browsing the town, went into some of these little shops and looked at local souvenirs, handmade items, as well as we were looking for the pastel de nata, which we were not succeeding with. And yeah, I went into some of these souvenir shops, and one of the major souvenirs that you can get is some kind of a painted tile, or they call it the azulero, which is a form of Spanish and Portuguese painted thin glazed ceramic tile. They are found on the interior and exterior of churches, palaces, or just normal houses or any kind of buildings in the Portuguese cities. They are an ornamental art form, but also had a specific functional capacity, like temperature control in the homes, because in the summer they keep the homes cool. So finding all kinds of ceramic souvenirs is very easy, with a variety of hand painted motifs, and also in traditional shapes like the sardine tin. And then after looking around the town, we went for dinner. We wanted to go to a different place, but we ended up in this restaurant and had some mussels with lemon, garlic and parsley sauce, and the famous bacalhau. I believe we had the version which is called bacalhau com nata. Basically, bacalhau is the cod fish, which is very famous in Portugal, and the way they prepared it in the meal that we had was basically baked cod in an oven, layered with onions, diced potatoes, and I believe they also had some bacon on it, and then a creamy sauce with nutmeg. So it's like similar to a lasagna in a way. It was quite delicious, I must say. So it was an unexpected find. This is not the restaurant where we wanted to go, but we ended up there. And then the next day we were driving to Zavial for me to try surfing for the first time in my life. So we went to this beach which was full with surfers and dogs, a lot of beginners like me and some surfing school people. First I got a bit of theoretical knowledge, and then I was trying on land, and then we were going.
Vic, are you ready? This is a video. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm a bit nervous.
Always.
See.
Good luck! Woo!
is my reward for the hard work after being on the ocean for what? How long was it?
An hour and a half. First time trying.
Tired, so I'm trying the, how do you pronounce it properly?
Pastel de nata.
De nata.
What is your impression, your first impression, Vic?
I like it.
You like?
I mean, I like the size because it's quite sweet, and I'm not used to eating very sweet, so it's just a perfect little cupcake size. And I like the consistency, and I like the toppings, you know. What do you call it? Caramelized.
Mm-hmm. So it's a go. It's good. You recommend? Thumbs up.
After surfing and the well-deserved dessert, we went to Sagres, which is basically considered as the end of the world because Sagres sits at the continental Europe's most southwestern point. It is historically connected to the Portuguese Age of Discovery, being the spot from which the Portuguese navigators set off from to discover the new worlds in the 15th century. The name Sagres comes from the Roman name for the area, which is Promontorium Sacrum. At the time, it was believed to be the most westerly part of the world, and the setting of the sun off the point was thought to make the waters of the ocean boil. Sagres is famous for its dramatic sea-carved cliffs and its beaches, which are popular among surfers, kitesurfers, rock climbers, hikers, divers, and birdwatchers. Algarve is a popular region for traveling around with camper vans, and although wild camping is not allowed and you have to go to an official campsite with your van, there is in Sagres, for example, an interesting concept of a restaurant, bar, café, where you can go there, do a round of laundry of your things. Obviously, it is targeted to those who are traveling around with the camper van who will need to do their laundry. And while you're doing your laundry, you can have your lunch or coffee, you can sit down to do some work remotely on your computer, and just chill there for a couple of hours until your laundry is done and dry. And if you would like to purchase some ceramics, the famous handmade Portuguese ceramics, then there is a place in Sagres where you can go, which is the Artesanato with a huge selection of all kinds of pottery, ceramics, and souvenirs of the region. So it is worth stopping by. You can just spend a little bit of time here looking around, and if you're hunting for something unique, you can definitely find it here. And afterwards you can stop by for coffee at Picnic Sagres. I had the flat white, it was really good. You can have a bit of a pastry, some coffee, and then you can buy some local organic wine in this shop or some of their books that they have, and just chill and enjoy the local vibes. Following our coffee, we went back to Praia da Luz and we did a little bit of a walk around the town, looked at the plants which look like a huge asparagus in the middle. Actually, we were doing a flower tour. We were looking at all the colorful, beautiful flowers around town, which were all blooming, and yeah, we were comparing neighborhoods and comparing gardens, how well they are doing with their flowers, and just enjoying the weather. The weather during this weekend, which was in the middle of May, very windy, but it was quite warm, 20 plus degrees. The water was really cold, however, so unless you have a wetsuit, it's not very comfortable to be in the water. but it is definitely very nice to do some sunbathing because it's not too hot, but it is warm enough to be in a swimsuit on the beach. For dinner we went to the Fortaleza da Luz, which we didn't have the best dinner. We didn't have the best food. It wasn't the tastiest. And that's something that I heard about Portugal. Multiple people said that they didn't really like the food in Portugal. And I don't agree fully with that. It just depends on where you go, which restaurant, and it's the case everywhere. You just have to select the place very carefully. So this place had an amazing view to the beach and to the sea. And it has an interesting concept, and it was part of an old fortress with a history, so that was interesting. However, the food was not fantastic, so what we had at least was not great, but the atmosphere was good, and they had caipirinha as cocktail of the day for only €7, so I was happy with that. And then the next day we went for a hike between Burgau and Salema, and the trail that we took is part of the famous Fisherman's Trail, which is a walking route in the south of Portugal. It is considered one of the most beautiful coastal routes in the world. The scenery along the route is breathtaking: rugged cliffs, sandy beaches, stunning lookouts, charming towns, clear waters of the Atlantic Ocean, and diverse wildlife. And we actually met a guy who was walking the trail for 5 days. Along the way there are some hostels or bed and breakfasts where you can sleep for the night, or if you walk with a tent, then you can stop by at the campsites along the way to sleep for the night. It's less comfortable, and after a whole day or 2 days or 3 days of walking, maybe you wish to sleep in a proper bed. But it's an option for backpackers and hikers who want to do it on a low budget. A lot of people also cycle in this area. Maybe in May it's still something that you can do, and the same for hiking, but I cannot really imagine doing this in the summer because it's just way too hot and sunny. But look at the view, it's just stunning. So if you ever get the chance to go to Portugal, to Algarve or to the coast and to the Fisherman's Trail, do it. sister. Excuse me. We spent Sunday afternoon in Burgau, where we went to look for lunch, and we found a very nice lunch place called Miam. I had the best meal here in Portugal during my 3 days. We chose the fish of the day with some fries, and the fries were very nicely seasoned. You can have other types of seafood obviously as well. So this is how our meal looked like, and then we also had dessert, which was also fantastic. We had the Miam chocolate fondant. I had it with a shot of espresso, and it was just fantastic. The only thing is that we got the last table. It was a Sunday lunchtime. We got the last table at the restaurant. We were lucky. Actually, everything else was reserved. So if you want to book for lunchtime on a weekend, you should probably reserve on time. It had a great view. It had a terrace. So no wonder it was popular. The food was good. The atmosphere was nice. Yeah, overall, very good experience. So I do recommend it. And then following lunch, we just took a walk in the town of Burgau, and then we went back to Praia da Luz, and we were chilling next to the pool. I was trying to book my airport transfer, which I failed with, and then I booked an Uber instead. I had to leave at 6:30 from Praia da Luz to make it on time to the airport. And then we had a vegetarian dinner at Chiccas in Praia da Luz, which was quite nice. And then we went to bed, and in the morning I went to the airport and flew back to Vienna. So that was my Portuguese trip. Thank you for tagging along. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my other travel vlogs and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm looking forward to see you at my next video. Until then, goodbye.